Hey everyone, welcome. Good evening. A lot to go over today. One second, I just finished. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Lev Remembers. Thursday, August 14th, and it's been quite a day. And we got a lot that is going to be going on tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be quite an evening. It's going to be reality at its finest, theatrics that like you've never seen. We'll go over what my sources are telling me the schedule is tomorrow, and what is planned and what is planned to get is to happen. But the reason I decided to go live today, guys, I know it's late. I know a lot of you, are probably watching TV, other social media, all kinds of interviews, and probably are tired of bombardment of watching what's going to happen tomorrow. And I kind of sick to my stomach already watching the same shit, excuse me for my language, back and forth, that's being basically, you got pundits and you got media talking about, all they're talking about is back and forth all day long, bringing people on that have no clue of, never met Vladimir Putin, never met Donald Trump, don't know either one, giving their opinions about what is going to be talked about at this meeting, talking about how, this is going to be trying to be peace, and how this is going to try to be this. It's a bunch of bullshit. I mean, it really makes my stomach turn to watch this, because nobody's asking the questions. Nobody's talking about reality. Let's talk, breaking on a deal. Let's talk about breaking the deal up and understanding what would take for this deal to even happen. So before you even go into what Donald Trump is going to say, what Putin's going to say, I could tell you, because, I've been speaking to my sources all day, all morning, all evening, and the things that I'm hearing and the way it's going to be played out, we'll see what happens tomorrow. But in the meantime, if you remember what I told you when this thing happened, how all of a sudden the emergency meeting right at the time, when we just broke the news about the whole Maxwell Epstein scrubbing, J.D. Vance's dinner, Dan Bongino breaking, and all of a sudden, as I told you on cue, Trump and Putin met. You haven't heard about anything about Maxwell or Epstein for over a week. Nothing, not a zero. That the reporters won't even ask a question, and that is why I'm asking each and every one of you to make sure that you do not let them get away with it, because it's because of the independent journalists that we have out there. Like, earlier today, I did an interview with Ben Mysalis from the Midas Touch Network. Incredible the work they do. My son Aaron Parnas, that you guys know. You right now need to support them as much as possible, because they're on the front lines of this war of independent journalism, about freedom of speech, about First Amendment, about being able to get the information, because that's the only places that you're really hearing the real true information of what's going on and what's happening today. Because right now, if you take a look at all the media, they're reporting all of a sudden, hi, Putin is going to, breaking news, Putin is going to make a deal. Breaking news, Putin is going to make a deal. What is so breaking news about that? Absolutely. We're going to talk about Putin's going to make a deal. Putin, his deal is that he wants to control all of the land that he's taken over. Putin is going to want concessions and want to take over parts, like Trump said, land swaps. So yes, Putin's going to want to make a deal. That doesn't mean that there's a deal going to be made, because you don't hear ever Donald Trump talking about saying Ukraine's going to make a deal, that this is a deal that's going to be. It's whenever it comes up to the Ukraine part, it's always, they're going to have to go through some things. They're going to have to suffer, and always keep in mind, praising Putin and Russia in a way where saying that Ukraine and Zelensky were somehow a part of this war, that they did something, that they're somehow the aggressor and not the victim, and that's the crazy part. But that's part of Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin, authoritarian, is to scrub history. Because the other thing that when we talk about authoritarians and dictators, the one thing that nobody mentions that we need to also understand, and that's what you see Donald Trump doing, is they scrub history. They change history because they need history to be able to rewrite it to a way where it benefits the radical stuff that they do, because that's what they're doing. They're changing history. They're changing all our rights and everything that we've been doing for all these years, for what we've been fighting for. They're changing. But let's talk about some of the stuff and let's break up the deal. First of all, what's supposedly the media should be talking about? The questions they should be asking, okay, is, well, is Russia going to give up any land? Would I even, and I want to stop because I know a lot of people email me and text me say, like, how could he even meet with them on our land and how could he give them the benefit? I'm willing to go today and go beyond that and say, yes, I agree with you guys. Absolutely. There should be zero concession we should be giving Vladimir Putin. There should be no meeting going on right now until there's a total ceasefire. I mean, there's a lot of things, but I'm going to, for the sake of the conversation, because we don't have all night and all day to go by why he did what he did do, for the sake of it, we say, okay, it doesn't matter. We're here already. Okay. So let's move on. Okay. So right now, well, the question should be, what is Vladimir Putin going to concede? Because we understand that right now, the latest that we heard is Vladimir Putin wants he wants to take over the land that they already have, the Russians have already invaded, which is, I think close to 25% of Ukraine as it stands right now. He also wants to swap land. I mean, that's the crazy part. Basically, he wants to take over land that they didn't even invade, to be able to swap it with land. I don't know what that even means, but that's Donald Trump has mentioned it several times. So that's definitely a conversation that Witkoff is having with them about swapping land. So it's interesting. So that's not going to happen. So all of these things that he is requesting, and then also he wants the sanctions reliefs. He wants all this happening. But let's take a look at now what the Ukrainians are saying. Today they came out and very strongly said, first of all, before anything, there has to be a solid ceasefire. Before any kind of territorial conversation, there has to be a ceasefire. Then Russia must pay damages up to $1 trillion. Because don't forget, Russia invaded Ukraine. They destroyed their infrastructure. Millions of people have left their houses and are living all over the place. We're not even talking about the countless dead or displaced. We're talking about all of that. So, $1 trillion. They have to be unhindered accession to NATO and to the EU, which obviously, if you think about that, that's why Trump says the war even started. No reduction of any army or no halt to any aid, and no lifting of sanctions. And the important part that finally, besides us now, it's written in black and white: the return of all the childreners that they took as prisoners of war, as I've been telling you all along. So here you have the Ukrainians saying this is where they're at. You have the Russians on a totally, completely side, and Trump is meeting for what? You tell me. I mean, you tell me. Just think about for yourself. None of the media is saying they're talking about that. This is just a sham. I'll tell you what they're really meeting about, because we could talk about what they're really meeting about. Because I have some really good sources that have been, listening to these conversations and watching what's happening, and let me tell you what really is being discussed at this meeting. First of all, there's a very strong possibility that Donald Trump walks away completely from Ukraine and starts working just to basically legitimize Russia. Because you have to take a look, and I always tell you guys here at Lev Remembers, we don't always look at what they're writing or what they're talking about. What aren't they talking about? And let's take a look at one important thing. Who is Russia sending as their delegation to this meeting? So yes, we know Vladimir Putin, the president, is coming, okay? But then you got the other people coming, and let me tell you who's coming. You got Putin's number one aide, his right hand, can't get any closer, Yuri Ushakov. Yuri Ushakov just recently, maybe a day ago, turned around and made comments directly saying that the Ukrainian land is their land, that the Ukrainian people are the same as Russians. So basically, the rhetoric that comes out of Yuri every day is no, there's no sign of peace. There's no sign, just literally, even as they're going to meet. The next person on the list that's going is Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. For those of you that should know that name, he's the one always in the news. But those of you that don't know, he's every day completely talking about how it's even in the Constitution. It's in already the in Russian Constitution that the land that they own already in Ukraine, so they're not going anywhere. So there's no concessions from this guy to talk about peace deal. You got then the finance minister, Anton Sulanov. Finance minister. Now you think to yourself, why do you need a finance minister coming to this meeting? And I'll explain to you in a second. And then you got Russian Direct Investment Fund, and the guy that I've been telling you for since months already. Now you start to hear his name more and more. His name is Kirill Dmitriev. And what is he in charge of? The Russian Investment Wealth Fund. So you have a foreign minister of finance, you have the head of the Russian Investment Fund, and then you have Putin's right hand and the foreign minister Putin. And this is the team that's coming to negotiate Ukraine. Yeah, really bullshit. That's not happening. What is happening, and I'll give you a breakdown. What I'm hearing from my sources, the plan tomorrow is that Putin and Trump are going to meet one-on-one. At this one-on-one meeting, they're going to have each of them is going to have a translator. The meeting is already set up, and the conversation that's going to be discussed is not going to be about Ukraine. You're not going to see any transcripts. You're not going to. You're only going to see, the way they perceive it, the way they'll explain it to you. But basically, the conversation is going to be about other things. And some of the people already leaked it in the Russian side because the Russian media is talking about because the Russians are coming to this meeting not to do a peace deal with Ukraine. They're coming here to normalize their relationships with America. Think about it. Normalize their relationships with America. Now, what does that entitle for them to normalize their relationship with America? So I'm hearing that, first of all, what their main concern is the lifting of certain financial sanctions, because Russia is in a very, very major financial decline as an economy. We keep telling you that. I know the pundits, the media doesn't talk about it, doesn't keep a focus on, because these are the important parts. Because if they would shed the light and the whole world would understand that Russia is a sinking economy, then everything else would start making a lot more sense. But because the way they make it seem that Russia is this powerful country and such a powerful military arm, and because so that's why it's very difficult to get the truth out and to explain why that this is not a conspiracy theory, folks. I'm telling you, these are things that you're hearing because there are people actually in the rooms hearing this, bringing it to you. And I'm not bringing it to you because this is some reality show and I want, to get famous or clicks for this. I'm bringing this to you and I'm risking a lot. A lot I'm risking, and my families are risking a lot to get you this information, because it's not just Donald Trump. This is Vladimir Putin. These are a lot of very, very powerful, important people that I'm going out there basically giving you this information. The reason I'm doing it is because you are an extension of my voice. This is, the purpose of why I'm on Substack, is because we here have built a movement of resistance, basically, where we don't just come on here and just listen to this and then move on, because I know each and every one of you is going to reshare it, restack it. You're going to make your phone calls. You're going to go tell this, spread this, and share this far and wide. And that is what I am hoping, or that is the reason we're doing it, because that is the only way. The only way we're going to be able to save ourselves from what is going on, because what is happening, not only overseas, but what is happening here in the United States, and the normalization. Just think about where we have got to a point where Donald Trump has normalized military and ICE agents roaming the streets of America. We have not only in California, we have it now in Washington D.C. We have people being taken off the streets, and it's to be all fair, you can't even report on all of this stuff all the time, because I know a lot of you call. I watch the DMs, and I want to take a second off and say to you, believe me, I see you and I hear you, and I know it sucks, and I know it's scary, and I live through it myself. I hear it from my own wife, my own family, my own sister. A lot of you guys know her on here. She listens, she tells me it is scary shit. This is not a game. This is not a reality show that we're saying, try to talk about, and give you my opinion. This is actual facts, actual truth of what's happening. Oh, hey, Michael, you want to come on or you're just chilling? Let me know. If you want to come on, text me. I'll bring you up, brother. This is very, very serious. This is we're at a point in our country, in our world that, we're watching not even politics, but theatrics, because that's what's going to happen tomorrow. So you're going to have an early meeting. This is what I'm hearing, and write it down so you have the schedule. You're going to have an early meeting with the two of them. Simultaneously, right afterwards, you're going to have a breakfast, lunch type of a meeting between, as I told you, Sergei Lavrov. You're going to have Anton Solomov. You're going to have Kirill Dmitriev. You're going to have all of these guys. Hold on, let me try to get Michael up here. You're gonna have all of these guys up there, and then you're gonna have to hey, bro. Hey, no,
You like
no,
the shirt?
no sleep for the weary.
I got my lobotomy at Lumen. You know what this shirt is. You know what this shirt is from?
Nowhere.
The television show Severance.
Really?
That's Lumen Enterprises. I got my lobotomy at Lumen.
That's right. Oh, brother, no
By the
sleep
way,
for
do you not feel like we all need to get a lobotomy?
Oh, dude, I feel
I
like
mean, I'm listening. I'm listening to you. I mean, few people tell it the way that you tell it. Few people tell it the way that you, myself, and Malcolm tell it on Unleashed. This is, I mean, it's in furtherance of what I keep trying to say. The amount of stupidity, the amount of misinformation, bad information, malinformation, disinformation. It's all out there. So you keep going. You keep speaking the truth, Lev. One of the things Lev and I talked about today on our show, Unleashed, is the fact that it's this community that keeps us going. It's this community that we need to grow. And I say grow, I mean significantly. If we're going to end up stopping the nonsense that Lev is talking about every single second of every single day, whether it's the DC federalization of the police force, whether it's going to be Marines or the military parading down streets, whether it's going to be DC, whether it's going to be LA, New York, Chicago, right? It doesn't make a difference whether we're going to see the ongoing criminalization of individuals simply because people in the administration don't like it. This all has to come to a stop. I don't know. And without your help, we're doomed. I'm going to put it in a New York term that I think everyone will fully understand. We're fucked. Seriously fucked. And that's why, look, when Lev is on, there should be not 800, 900, 1,000 people. There should be 100,000 people. And I don't say that just because he's my friend. I say it because I truly mean it, right? Where else are you going to get the information that you need in order to be able to engage in true conversation with people who don't think the same way that you and I do, and Lev does, Malcolm does? Where are you going to get the information to challenge them on the false information that is flooding through their heads?
Well said, brother. I appreciate it. I mean, you're listen. One thing that those of you that know Michael is not shy, and he tells it like it is. You know, I don't sugarcoat things, but we all have our different ways of thinking. And but the one thing we all agree upon, the one thing we talk about, especially people that know Trump, like myself, like Michael, is the only way we're going to beat him is by building and this community bigger and stronger. And I'm already moving from community to movement to resistance, because that's what we're really going to have a real movement, a resistance. You know, today when I was on with the Midas guys, you know, with Ben, and we were talking about, I mean, like literally, that we are talking. I know a lot of you don't know a lot of the things we're talking behind the scenes, but we are talking about, you know, getting together 1 million or 2 million people to try to march on to Washington, D.C. We're talking about doing town halls and going out there into you know, a lot of these places and doing it. We're talking about doing all of it because unfortunately you don't have any democratic leadership there doing it. You have some people out there, and you know, I'm proud to say, you know, Gavin Newsom is doing the fight. He's out there, you know, out of all people, he's out there. He's going to start redistricting. He came out there. He went at it, even though they tried to. I just think about it. You had the governor of California having a press conference, and you had Tom Homan sending ICE agents and federal agents,
I think it was Christy Nome who sent
or
him in.
Chris, or Chris. I just think about the times we're living in, to set that, not to do anything. They can't do anything, but it was just a sign of intimidation for people that would show up and everything like that. And that's the biggest sign that the key that what we keep and we sound alarms of is election reform, and you know, intimidation, because part of intimidation is to intimidate people from being scared to show up at their ballots because ICE agents are going to be circling around. Intimidation of people to go out there, to be able to scare to go out there because there's a military and you know, out there arresting people or stopping or checkpoints today, like in Washington D.C. And again, I want to make it very clear, because you know, the one thing that and we perfected it because me and Michael both were on the other side, and this was part of our strategy, is to deflect and to move on and to try to make something out of a mountain out of a molehill. So we agreed that we want less crime in Washington, D.C. We agree that we don't want, you know, felons and mental institution runnings around. We agree to that. It's how we get to that point. It's what how
Sure.
it's how we done. That's the
Is there
key.
anybody out there that would argue with that statement
But
that
that's
this
but that's their
administration
whole.
is putting out? Right.
But that's
You don't want gang members and rapists and
but
drug
Michael.
dealers and murderers
But
running
but
around through your neighborhood?
but see, to you, yeah, it's common sense to me. But that's the strategy that they, because the way they box people like Schumer and Pelosi and all of these people, they box them in the corner where they're constantly defending rapists. They're constantly defending somebody, but not because of the person, because of the rights they take away from the person, but because it gets such clogged up in the issue of the thing. And
Sure, sure. Take the issue Lev is pointing out. The best example is what ICE is doing to undocumented individuals. Oh my God, Michael, you're not allowed to call them undocumented individuals. They are in fact felons. They're criminals, right? They are, they're illegals. Right. Instead, you call them what they are. They're undocumented individuals. By the way, undocumented individuals
doesn't make it
are people
criminal.
who overstay. It's not criminal. It's civil, right? But they've now made it criminal. And I'm with the president on this. If you overstay your visa or you come in, you sneak into this country, you should not be permitted to become a citizen. You have to do it the right way, the way you did it, the way my father did it, the way my wife did it, the way my grandmother did it, my grandfather. I mean, you have to do it the right way, the way I just became a Canadian citizen, right? You have to do it the right way. I'm dead serious, right?
I don't know.
Now, here's the crazy part. I'll tell you what I don't agree with. I don't agree with rounding people up, having 85 federal officers running around an area, going to Home Depots, going to hospitals, going to schools, going to a soccer game, right? Literally to find people that look like they are Hispanic so that you could now ask them for their papers. What does that remind you of? Sounds a little 1930s to me.
Oh, 100%.
Matthew, there, give to me your papers.
I mean,
Really?
and they still do it in Russia. It's still do it in Russia. They still could come up to you at any moment, and just like in North Korea, you can't walk around the street without documentation and paperwork where you're. This see, that's the whole thing. They talk. Trump says that tries to call the Democrats a communist, but what he's doing is literally a communist country. I mean, that's where I came from. I mean, that was the Soviet Union. In the Soviet Union, you couldn't walk the streets without paperwork. If you got stopped, you would go to prison for it. That's exactly where we're at and what he's doing. And just to think about, I mean, some of the things that for the past week, Michael, that we haven't even touched about. We haven't touched about the Maxwell stuff. We haven't touched about the subpoenas. Who's coming out? Nobody's talking about Dan Bongino that was broken a week ago. That they're having issues. He wants to talk about the media. I mean, is completely. And what pissed me off, to why I decided to have this slide, is because the way the media is reporting it, they're not asking the questions. They're overwhelming the people. But if you watch the constant coverage, it's
Right.
opinions
Oh
of people,
my God. By the way,
opinions
you're
about people
so
that they've never met Trump, never met Putin, never met any of the, have no idea what, and they sit there, and this is what's killing me. They sit there and they're talking about, well, tomorrow is going to be a big day. They're going to sit there and they're going to have conversation and they're going to talk about it. And Trump is going to have to come in there and look Putin in the eye and tell him, if you don't stop doing this, Vladimir, I'm looking at saying, are these people fucking insane?
they
You
are
know how that, you know
they
how
are
this
completely
conversation is the kind of, hold on. So you know how this conversation is going to go? Vlad, what's it called?
Godzilla.
How are you? Good. Oh, I feel so bad when you have to go through it and with the media, the fake news, how this
Hey,
makes.
Vlad
Boy, I can't believe
Pajalica.
they're still
Yay,
tying
yay.
us. And there's already, and by the way, I just want you to tell you, there's already a list, because part of what Witkoff's job was to explain to Putin how the key points to make Donald happy. Like talk about Nobel Peace Prize, that you should win the Nobel Peace Prize. Talk about how the media is unfair to him and how they, are fake news lying. How the Democrats are garbage. Don't forget, Putin has been in power for 30 years, folks. He's been in power through Republican, Democrats, so many presidents. You know how much dirt and shit he could have and make up? So he could sit there and say, Donald, and by the way, you're the best, Donald, because when Biden, oh my God, when Obama, oh, this is what and give him that juicy. So you know how Trump right away feels like, oh shit, like, I'm hearing it from Putin's telling me like what kind of idiot Obama was, and I'm the man. And to him, that takes, so this is the conversation going to be. It's going to be pleasantries. It's going to be talking about minerals, not details. It's going to be how financially it could be such a beneficial world we live in between
Yep.
Russia and America.
Yep.
And that's going to be. And then when they leave, then when the real people come into the room and talk about what's going to be talked about, and what my sources are telling me is not again Ukraine, not peace, but it's going to be, first of all, transportation. We're going to come out, and I'm hearing them announce joint some sort of, where now we are going to be able to fly and travel to Russia, with the lifting of certain sanctions, certain financial sanctions that Russia needs to be lifted off, because again, like I told you when we started this thing, Russia is in deep shit. Their economy is at fault. Making
There are
sure.
very few males in Russia anymore. Most of the
Yeah.
males are either deployed in Ukraine or dead. Wait till these babushkas and the wives, right? Wait till the moms turn around and they're waiting for their sons to come back from this war, only to find out that Putin ended up sending mobile crematoriums into the battlefield to dispose of the bodies, because there was no place that they were going to bury them. They would need 2 football fields, 3 football fields worth of land. And just imagine undigging that grave down the road. They didn't have the time within which to bury the bodies, so they sent in mobile crematoriums. Parents didn't even get a chance to say goodbye to their kid. All right. And so it's going to be really, really, it's going to be truly ugly when, you know, when the big boys get into the room thinking that they're just going to divvy up Ukraine, Ukraine's just going to walk away. It's not true. But, Lev, I just want to say that you brought up an incredible point. And the point is, how come nobody's talking about the Epstein crimes anymore? Well, we get people like, you see, I'm having a lot of disagreements with like Tara Palmieri. Who knows?
You're always controversial, Michael. That's why we love you. I
She
mean,
knows she knows nothing. She knows nothing. She's making a whole slew of assumptions. Now Newsweek just ran with an article. Didn't even give me an opportunity to respond before they put out the article, which of course just shows you it's bad journalism. But putting all that aside, why is nobody talking about Epstein file right now? And there's an answer. There truly is an answer why. Because you and I could engage in the conversation, and it's all hypothetical. What we need is the release of the files. Now, that can happen till at least September 3rd, when Congress returns from their summer recess. So what's the point to talk about something that you cannot do anything with for at least now another 3 weeks? So people are taking a step back from it, not forgetting. And you know why it's not going to be forgotten? Because people like Lev and myself and others will not allow it to disappear. We will continue to talk about it. Democrats will continue to talk about it. Republicans will continue to talk about it because they were fed these lines of bullshit for years now about how the Democratic cabal of child rapists are trafficking these young girls, these children, and using them as sex slaves. Well, you know what? They truly want to know who these people are, and rightfully so. Independents want to know, but none of this information is going to come out until at least September 3rd.
I don't even think that, Michael, between me and you, I hope it does, and I agree with you 100% because the victims, the truth needs to come out. People that are accountable, and we will be speaking about even though the media is basically giving them a break, we haven't. We're still going behind the scenes. We're still gonna break it up, and we're gonna, after tomorrow, after that big nothing, after that, this whole anticipation, and when we get the over with and go on. The media is going to have no other choice but, come back to the real story about what Trump is doing. And I don't think no matter how hard he tries, I mean, he could, delay, but, there's certain things that there is still hope that we're going to go into.
So, a lot of the folks right now, like even in the comments, oh, Trump's name will never be released in the file. This one is protecting him. They're going to scrub the file on him. Okay. Let me sort of tell you why that's not true.
Don't get controversial, Michael.
I'm not. But let me tell you why that's not true. So there's, let's say, 1,000 names. Let's say there's 500 names in that file. Let's say it's John and Mary and Jim and Bob and Rob and Scott and so on. Well, once those names are released, what ends up happening? The media, journalists, people like Lev, myself, we start searching out for these individuals to bring them on our show to talk about it. These people get hunted down, in the metaphorically speaking. Are you trying to tell me that if they were at, say, Epstein's house and Trump was there, they're not going to turn around and say, oh, by the way, Trump was there?
But see, that's
By the way, let me tell you what I saw. How about the young girls, then, these children who are now adults that do actually want to speak out and tell their story? They will tell their story. So if the files do not reflect accuracy, we will know 1, 2, 3.
But see,
It's going
this
to
is the
take a short period of time before we're able to unravel the fact that they're missing pages.
but this is the problem, and this is, and I agree with you because you're a lawyer, and what you're saying, what Michael's saying, and 99.9% of it usually is correct because from a legal sense. But we live in a different world right now, and just to remind you what already transpired, I actually had what's her name? My head right now. For Mueller, she wrote Allison Gill. I had
Oh, yeah.
Allison Gill on my show, and Allison is great, and she actually was reporting. And one of the things that they did, and she actually just filed a FOIA report to get it, they had a whole training session, Michael, at the FBI. Kash Patel put together a whole training session of how to properly, and they had thousands of FBI agents scrubbing
Mhm.
Trump's name to scrub so what you're saying exactly doesn't happen. So they're not scrubbing. So the information, this is why what Blanche is coming in with, and the way they're trying to structure it is it's not that Maxwell's going to make up information, because if you're right, if there's too many people out there, if she goes
Right.
make something up, they're busted. What she's doing is they're scrubbing the way she's going to formulate the story, and to make sure she doesn't touch on any victims or any people that could bring or harm other people, not just Trump, but others. They're just going to formulate and give a piece of the story,
Okay.
not the whole
So,
story,
right.
just a piece of it. So that's
So,
where the danger
right.
comes.
So here's the thing. This story is too big for even God himself, should he come down from the heavens above, to scrub this story. It's too in the news every single day. And these children, these young girls who are now adults, many of them want to speak out. They want their voices to be heard. You can't stop these brave women today from coming forward, right, and telling their story. Some don't want to. Some just want to put it behind them and forget it ever happened, that this was a part of their life. Kind of like you and I, when it comes to Otisville, we try hard, it's not working, but you try. Then there are others that turn around and is like, no, no, bullshit. I want to talk about it. And these women are coming forward all the time to ensure that their stories are told accurately and truthfully and from their perspective. So no matter what they try to scrub, you can't scrub shit on this because the story is too big. This isn't like a one-off person here and somebody over there. This is 1,000 children, a thousand.
But Michael, I agree with you. But the one thing is, they've already scrubbed it. Not only the Republicans, the Democrats have been scrubbing it, and the Republicans for all these years. They've been protecting this pedophile ring and these people because there's people complicit on all over the
And
place.
that's why I
So,
think it will ultimately come out.
and what I'm saying to you is, I think it's already ultimately out. See, this is where I think I maybe where me and you agree or disagree, or where I believe the story is already out. I think everybody already knows that there was a pedophile ring. There's enough victims and came out that have already testified.
But we
So
don't know the
there's
names of the
it's
victimizers. We don't
that's
know them all.
this is the key, and this is what I'm talking about. It's not that the story will go where to say,
Right.
it's the people that will be held the
Right.
accountability.
We're
To be
saying the same thing, just slightly different. I believe part of the story are also the disclosure of the victimizers. That's what everybody, and you know why? Because
how does that come out if Pam Bondi scrubs it, if she shuts it down? How does that
because
come out, Michael?
because the girls that were with them know who they were with.
But that would be, you know what? It would, first of all, it's been already so many years. Those girls that have already spoken, the ones that haven't, if they come out with the way the mob power machines, I mean,
I hear you.
I'm all with you that their voices need to be heard, and it's just that the sick part is the reality of it is the way they're trying to do it, the way, because they have control of the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Prisons, the DOJ, the Congress,
Well, you know what? You
the
know, you're
subpoena
right.
power. You
You're
know,
you're right. I'm just hoping, Lev, that with voices like yours, with voices like mine, with
uh,
voices like
absolutely.
Power Behind Midas Touch Network, and with
Absolutely.
like your son and others, like Malcolm and others. Not that Malcolm's your son. I'm talking about Aaron, right? I'm hoping, I'm hoping that we give them just the smallest amount of security and strength to know that there are a lot of people out there who believe what they say and who want them to be protected as they share this hellacious experience of their childhood. So my hope is that with enough of us, this community, with enough of us standing in front of them like they're shields, right? We're their protectors so that their voices can be heard and that their stories can be told and that accountability to the victimizers finally takes place, which should give some solace to the victims. That's all that I could hope. And that's why I truly hope the unredacted file comes out in its entirety, other than the names of the victims. I hope.
And listen, you know what, Mike? I just want to say to tonight, that's a great way to put the segment closer to an end with the word hope. And I agree with you. We hope that the victims' voices will be heard, that we will one day get accountability for these people that did these awful and heinous crimes. That we also hope to be able to get our democracy back. I want to say this one thing. That's why Substack is a community incredible. It's 9 o'clock in the evening. Michael's at home. I'm here. We saw each other on, jumped on to be able to give you guys, to be able to give you the ammunition to pass forward. So I want to ask you guys to please, please, if you subscribe to me, subscribe to Michael. If you subscribe to Michael, subscribe to me. Make sure you goes out to those of you that could go the extra mile to become paid subscribers. It's what keeps us going and allows us to be able to stand there, fight with them. Because believe me, speaking truth to power doesn't come cheap, unfortunately, especially in this world. With the way Donald Trump screwed this economy up, everything's more expensive. I just went to the store to get my kids school supplies, and I don't even want to get into what that costs. And, and Donald Trump is talking about how eggs are cheaper and life is great. Mike, I would love you, man. Thanks for coming on. Enjoy the evening, and I'll speak to you tomorrow. There's tomorrow, a big day for you guys to stay tuned because tomorrow is the actual meeting. So, Michael, will speak because I'm sure we're going to be going live on plenty of times. Brother, thanks for jumping in, man. Have a great
Always
night.
great to see you, my pal.
Well, there you have it, guys. That's what Substack is all about. It's a great place where we're all one community. We're all here helping each other get the information out, joining together. And that's what it is because, we might agree, we might disagree, we might even argue it sometimes, but that's part of life. That's part of being freedom. That's part of being able to speak your mind and give your opinion and being able to discuss it. That's why America is such a great country and we're not some echo chamber like you see on the right, like you see with Donald Trump, that if you don't speak or agree to what he says, it's over with. And there's, what's it called? Nothing to talk about. I also wanted to just, before I go, just say a few things quickly. Right after this, I'm going to do a quick 15, 20-minute Q&A for subscribers only, paid subscribers, I'm sorry, because for the past few days, a few weeks, because of all the craziness, we haven't had a chance to do our paid subscribers. So I figured after this, for those of you that are paid subscribers, stay on. I'm going to be going live, so you guys could get any questions, anything you want to ask me or talk about that we have discussed over today or the past couple of days. Those of you that haven't become paid subscribers yet, definitely now's the time in the next 10 minutes. So this way you could switch over and be part of our community and family and participate in questions besides supporting our movement. And for those of you that can and do, contribute to Venmo at Lev-Parnas. All your contributions, just like your subscriptions, help tremendously. And the one thing I would recommend each and every one of you do is go pick up a copy of Shadow Diplomacy. And if you have it not, it's at LEVREMEMBERS.com. That's LEVREMEMBERS.com. You can grab your book. There's also a lot of cool different T-shirts for Voice from Ukraine, hats from Lev Members. All of that stuff basically helps support the fight to speak truth to power and a way for us to be able to do it. So for those of you that do, God bless you. Thank you for all of your support. For those of you that are new to our family or coming on, welcome. We're just getting started. Like me and Michael spoke about, there's some major things, an announcement that we have in the works that Michael's working on behind the scenes with Unleashed. We're going to be taking it to the road. We're talking with a lot of major Democrats behind the scenes to be able to help, to be able to stop and save our democracy. But before we go over into our paid subscriber Q&A, I want to add some more information just I want to share with you. First of all, uh, oh, Michael ended off, and I want to end it off on this. I think that's a great way because we talk about a lot, mostly every day, when I sit down and to write my Substack letters or when I'm ready to go on to do my live. I know some of them we have some fun, like our Unleashed, where I go with Dean Blundell, our Canadian incredible host. We have some fun. We break it down. We try to get the news and put a little bit of fun to it. But I know most of it, it's really depressing. It's really difficult. And some of it, I know you guys send me DMs. You tell me how it's difficult to read. It's so hard. You know, what do we do? I mean, at some point, you know, I hear in messages that I want to give up. I can't do this no more. Or I'm, 80 years old. I've seen it all, and I can't do this. And I hear it all, and I try to respond. I am sorry for those that I haven't or I didn't get a chance to. But I could tell you one thing: I see you and I hear you. And I feel you like you can't understand because I also am scared. I have 7 kids. I have a wife, my sister, and I worry. I worry because I know this man very well. So when I watch him up there and when I see the things he's doing and the things that are happening, when I come on here or we go on Unleash with Michael and Malcolm or on Midas Touch or and I scream at the top of my lungs, I really do it because I'm really worried that if we don't act quick enough and if we don't start getting up to it, and we're doing it, and I'm not saying we're not because we're doing it, guys. And for those of you that are doing it, subscribing, those of you that are paid, to those of you contributing, going out there, spreading the message, keep doing it. For those of you that are just joining or thinking, come on down. For those of you that send me messages and saying that, you can't afford to subscribe or you can't, God bless you. I love you. It's not all. That's why I say each and everybody could do something. If you can't afford to subscribe, you could afford to pass the message along. You could afford to make a phone call to your congressman and senator. You could afford to maybe go out there and protest. There's a million ways what this platform is about. We are not here to make money. The money that the contributions, the what's it called? People that sign up and become paid subscribers, that feeds and allows me to do this 24 hours a day, to be able to fight, to be able to do it. And as you could see, I sit in a room here. I'm under supervised release. I don't have planes, yachts, and what's it called? Trust me when I tell you, it's there's no Elon Musk or corporate machines funding these movements, unfortunately, because if we did have some real, funding and money, we would be doing a lot of damage. And that's why we're trying to build these communities to a point where we have such a strong enough voice, where we have enough financial power to go out there. Because, the things that I want to do is not just sit here in the room and speak to 2,000-3,000 people. I want to go out there on the road. I want to go do these town halls. I want to go confront them at their town halls. I want to be able to go out, fill stadiums of rooms, not only in echo chambers, because yes, it's great when Bernie Sanders does it or AOC does it, but those are the votes that are going to vote for them anyway. I want to go to places that are undecided, independent, maybe mega cracking, because just think about all the things that we're not talking about today because of this fake summit that they put together, that the media has been all over for the past week, and not going into the hard questions about why it's being done, what's going to take place, what are the negotiations. Instead, they're talking about how Trump is going to look into Putin's eyes. But what we're not talking about is the real problem that we're having, like I told you, election reform. And that's the main important thing. And that's why we see right now the military in Washington, D.C. That's why he's saying it right straight open that he's going to put the military in Chicago, in New York, some of the biggest regions where we, are having the resistance and the strain to his, right-wing mega movement. But I want to end this off on hope. And the hope is this, I just want you to think about. So even with this craziness and this fake theatrical display that we're going to see tomorrow in Alaska, Europe and Ukraine doesn't give a shit. They know that this is all theatrics. They know this is all a game. You might see it in the newspapers where they're, trying to support and say they had good conversations with Donald Trump and they want to move. But that's part of being diplomats. That's part of being, politicians. That's what they do because they have to, because they have their own hope that maybe Donald Trump wakes up and really something does happen. But they know the truth because my sources are very good inside and they're telling you that Europe and Ukraine is preparing to continue this fight after tomorrow, after Alaska, and they're preparing to fight to the end without American support. Because after tomorrow, we were going to see a major pullback from American support towards Ukraine and more of a legalization or a justification or a normalization of basically relationships with Russia. Cindy, and for those of you that are late, first of all, for the paid subscribers, you're gonna jump over. We're gonna go do another live Substack and right after this one once it's done. For those of you that are not paid subscribers or come late and need to watch it again, I'm going to repost this and resend this after at the end of the night after I'm done with everything else, because the most important thing is to get this message, what we've been talking about here, what's going to happen tomorrow behind the scenes, what's happening here in Washington, D.C., what's going on. It's important. The number one thing is to get this message out far and wide to as many people as you can. And then everything else is secondary. So getting back to hope, Ukrainians, major hope, because if you've been following and reading my Substack, not only are I write about how the Russians are attacking what's it called, Ukraine every day. God bless you for the upgrades and being the supporters work to the family. But also, very importantly, if you read my Substack, that you understand that the Ukrainians are fighting back. They're fighting and strategically. They're hitting Russia where it hurts the most in their energy fields. Because part of when Michael came in, and let me just finish, some of you said finish your thought. Part of tomorrow's conversation at this meeting is going to be about minerals, about land swaps, about more relationships with play. But when we talk about minerals, this is important because I want you to see how diabolical and how sick these people are to what degree, how they play it out ahead of time. So for those of you that might not remember, if you recall, a few months ago, there was a big, it was biggest news where Donald Trump, excuse me, where Donald Trump basically proposed a deal to the Ukrainians and said that he wants them to sign a mineral deal that will repay America for all the money that they have spent and given aid in this war with the Russian aggression. At first, Ukraine, balked, but then after several meetings at the Oval and attacks, they finally went ahead and they basically agreed. And the reason they agreed is part of what Donald Trump and J.D. Vance said is that now that Ukraine is going to be partners with America in this mineral deal, Russia or nobody else is going to attack these places where now you're partners with us. Well, that's fake news because they've never stopped Russia attacking. And as I told you back then, and I'm telling you right now, I never. Let me stop. Pegs and quick announcements. I'm glad that you said that. I know a lot of. I haven't received my own T-shirts. Believe me, if I'd be wearing right now Lev Remembers or Voice from Ukraine, and I apologize, guys. My son set up the shop and retail the group that was making the T-shirts and the stuff. We had an issue with them. So there was an email that went out. I think in the next day or two, fingers crossed, we should have a new distributor signed up to be able to get out there. So for those of you that already put your orders for T-shirts and cups, mugs, stuff like that, those will go out in the next week or two. And I apologize for that, and I'll make it up to you with some little bonus. For those of you that are buying the books are going out. They are a little bit on back order. There's a new shipment coming in probably in the next week or so of soft covers, and also we're getting some rare hardcovers that I'm going to be signing that we're going to do. So keep your eye out there, because there's a few hardcovers coming. When they come out, they're going to go really quickly. So just keep your eye on that at the website levremembers.com. So just I apologize for the delay, guys. I appreciate the support. If for whatever reason you want your money back or return, just let me know, DM me, and I will take care of that. Otherwise, just bear with us, and all the stuff should be coming out in the next few weeks. You'll get them. So just on that note, so thank you, Pegs. I'm sorry. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I keep wanting to tell everybody, and quick PSA for everybody. So with the hope, again, I wanted to talk about with the land deal and what they're talking about there, and with hope, Ukraine knows it, and that's why no matter what comes out tomorrow, Ukraine is going to continue fighting for democracy, and Europe is going to be helping you. And then coming back here to America, I see hope, because I see hope in the American people. I see hope that we see these town halls, Republican town halls, where people coming in, that not mattering if they're on the right or the left or in the middle, where they're starting to scream, put their voices out, and talk up. That's major hope, because this is the people that are going to be going to the voting box. And massively today, I saw a lot of hope, guys, because besides the mega breakdown and all that, but today I was really very impressed and very excited what I saw, what Governor Gavin Newsom did by coming out there and drawing the line in the sand, and announcing the special elections for November 4th, talking about how they're going to go do whatever it takes to be able to save our democracy and get the House back in 2026. It gave me a lot of hope. And I could tell you that, if everything works out, and one day me and Governor Newsom will be on the same team, because I think there's a lot I could help him with. I think that our hope is going to turn into a lot more than prosperity, and we're going to get our democracy back. Because I saw it today in his eyes. He has what it takes. And what reminds me of him, going back to last year, is he is what Donald Trump back in 2018 and 2019. It was back then. It was Joe Biden. I remember how Trump looked at him, and he made Joe Biden. That's why he sent me even before Joe Biden announced that he was going to run for president. If you guys remember, the first person we attacked was Joe Biden, because at that point he already knew that Joe Biden was the person he did not want to lose to, and that he was scared to. And now Trump, I could tell, and I hear it from my sources, the new Joe Biden is Gavin Newsom. That's why you see that tax. That's why you're seeing all of this creative. So that's why, and what I saw today in Gavin Newsom, I'm very proud and I'm happy that the attack is on. And my message to him and to all the Democrats like Governor Pritzker and Kathy Holcomb and others, do not wait to be reactive. Stop being reactive and be proactive. From this day on, we are proactive. We're not going to sit back and wait to see what they could come up with and then how we react to it. We have enough powerful, smart lawyers, smart consultants, smart individuals. And if you need some more, I'm right here. And I'm sure Michael is ready, from people that are inside, that built that machine, that's willing to tell you exactly how to be proactive. But you right now is when we should be. Now, we're not sitting there and thinking about, how we're going to react to their gerrymandering gerrymandering or to them changing the laws. We need to be sitting there and thinking about what can we do to make sure that 2026, no matter what happens, we're going to be able to take the House back and hopefully maybe even the Senate. Because if that happens, then we start going back to normalcy, because then we start getting our powers come back, the balance of power. So with that, folks, that's why I tell you I see a lot of hope. And that's why with all the craziness, with all the bad, I know a lot of you, can't sleep at night, and I can't sleep at night myself. I go through, because just think about it. I have to write this stuff. I have to tell you this stuff. Some of the times when I write my Substack letters or when I go on live and talk to you, I really have to sit there and think for a second, how am I going to say this? What am I going to talk about? Because at the end of the day, I understand how serious it is and what I'm really saying. So I want you to understand. I understand how serious and how bad it is. And in reality, it's not changing today. But I could tell you there is hope, and there's hope on the horizon, and there's hope in our people, and there's hope in our country, and we are going to succeed by getting through this together. But the only way we're going to get through this is together. And on that note, all of you, God bless every single one of you that subscribes, that contributes, that becomes a paid subscriber. For those of you that are new to the family, welcome. You won't regret it. For those of you that are on the line, please, now's the time to join. And for each and every one of you, the one thing I ask of you is spread this message far and wide. Try to bring 3-4 more people to our platform. We need to grow our voices as far and as far, because you are the extension to my voice. You are my megaphone, and together we will get our democracy back. And I'm in like literally 5 minutes. We're going to be doing another live. It's going to be for paid subscribers only. It's going to be only for 15-20 minutes, guys. It's a special one I'm going to do just for all of you paid subscribers. I know I did one with my son Aaron earlier in the week on Tuesday. We had over 500 people there. So if any of you guys have any questions about that interview, any questions about any of the reporting that I've done, or just want to come by and say hi for support, or talk about anything, definitely now's the time. Hit that upgrade, become a paid subscriber, and I'll see you in like 5 minutes. And for those of you not, have a great night, and tomorrow's going to be a big day. Just set your alarms. We're going to be going through it. Tomorrow we're going to be having the breakup of the day is in the morning. They're going to go through the one-on-one meetings. Afterwards, I'm hearing there's going to be a breakfast / lunch, delegations from both sides, conversations. And then after that, we are going to have Helsinki 2.0. We're going to have Donald Trump side by side with Vladimir Putin, giving a press release and taking questions, which even I know, that can't wait to see, because I don't know what to expect from that. I mean, it's going to be really some crazy stuff, historic stuff tomorrow. So get your energy, get some sleep. Make sure, for those of you that can, at work, get your phones, get your apps, subscriptions, sure everybody's subscribed. Tomorrow, big day. Not a big day from a standpoint where we might see peace, or we might see something good happen, but a good day, a big day tomorrow from proper information to be able to keep fighting, to be able to save our democracy. So again, God bless every single one of you. Have a good night. And for those of you, my paid subscribers, I'll see you in 5 minutes. Take care.